Tom Jenkins was not your typical government agent. He was a man driven by curiosity, fueled by a passion for uncovering the truth. For years, he had dedicated his life to investigating odd occurrences and unexplained phenomena across the country. From UFO sightings to strange animal behavior, Tom had seen it all, or so he thought. Little did he know that his most astonishing adventure awaited him deep in the heart of an ancient forest. As Tom packed his gear for another mission, he could feel the excitement bubbling inside him. He had received reports of a series of strange sightings in the woods near Pine Ridge. Locals whispered about a creature that roamed the dense trees, leaving behind enormous footprints and eerie howls echoing through the night. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. While some dismissed these tales as mere folklore, others believed they were encountering something extraordinary, something like Bigfoot. Tom had always been intrigued by Bigfoot stories. Growing up, he had watched documentaries and read books about the legendary creature that supposedly inhabited remote areas of North America. The idea that such a being could exist fascinated him. Was Bigfoot merely a myth? Or was there truth hidden in those tales? Now, with an official mission on his hands, Tom felt like he was on the brink of discovering the answer. He loaded his truck with supplies, sturdy boots for trekking through thick underbrush, a camera to document any evidence, and notebooks to jot down his observations. As he drove to Pine Ridge, he replayed everything he knew about Bigfoot in his mind. The height, the hair-covered body, the elusive nature of this giant creature. He remembered a story from an old man in town who claimed to have seen Bigfoot at dusk while fishing by the river. The way the man described it sent shivers down Tom's spine. He could almost picture it standing there, watching silently from the shadows. Upon arriving at the forest's edge, Tom stepped out of his vehicle and inhaled deeply. The air was crisp and fresh, filled with the scent of pine and damp earth. He felt a thrill as he grabbed his gear and set off on foot into the woods. The sunlight filtered through the tall trees, casting playful shadows on the ground. Every sound seemed amplified, the rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, and even distant water flowing in a nearby stream. As Tom ventured deeper into the forest, he couldn't shake off an overwhelming sense of being watched. It was as if something was lurking just beyond his line of sight, observing him as keenly as he observed it. He tried to push those thoughts aside and focused instead on collecting evidence. Paw prints in mud, broken branches that might indicate movement, or any strange sounds that could hint at Bigfoot's presence. Hours turned into what felt like days as Tom hiked through uneven terrain. Despite feeling fatigued and alone in this vast wilderness, he remained determined to find answers. Then suddenly, as dusk began to paint the sky with hues of orange and purple, Tom heard an unusual sound, a low growl mixed with a deep vocalization that echoed around him. Heart racing with both fear and excitement, Tom paused to listen more closely. There it was again. The sound came from further into the woods. Summoning all his courage, he followed it cautiously, each step filled with anticipation. As he pushed past thick bushes and climbed over fallen logs, Tom felt like an explorer on a grand voyage into uncharted territory. After what felt like an eternity of searching in anticipation and dread, Tom reached a small clearing bathed in soft light. And there, standing tall yet partially hidden behind a massive tree, was Bigfoot. Its enormous frame towered above everything else around it. Thick fur covered its body like a dark cloak. Tom stood frozen in awe as all those childhood stories came rushing back to him. The creature turned its head slowly towards Tom. Its deep-set eyes seemed to hold wisdom beyond words. In that moment, time stood still, as if nature itself paused to witness their encounter. For several heartbeats, they stared at each other, one filled with curiosity and wonder, the other brimming with untold secrets waiting to be shared. Tom's mind raced with thoughts. Should he retreat quietly? Would it run away if startled? Or perhaps, just perhaps, this was an opportunity to learn something incredible. Gathering every ounce of bravery within him, Tom decided not to move, but instead waited for Bigfoot to make its next move. What happened next would change everything for him. An adventure that would take him beyond mere investigation into a world where understanding between two very different beings could unfold in unimaginable ways. The legend of Bigfoot has haunted forests and captivated imaginations for generations. It is a tale woven deeply into the fabric of American folklore, filled with mystery and the promise of the unknown. Stories of this elusive creature stretch back hundreds of years, with Native American tribes sharing their own accounts of a giant, hairy being that lives in the wilderness. Many referred to it as Sasquatch, and the creature was often portrayed as a guardian of the forests, watching over nature and its inhabitants. As Tom continued his trek through the Pine Ridge Forest, he couldn't help but let his mind wander back to all the research he'd done before setting out on this mission. He remembered reading about various sightings reported across North America, from the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest to the swamps of Florida. Some described a massive figure clad in dark fur, while others claimed to have spotted it moving swiftly between trees or peering out from behind rocks. One particularly famous sighting occurred in 1967, when two filmmakers captured footage in Northern California that many still regard as definitive evidence of Bigfoot's existence. The grainy film showed a large, bipedal creature striding confidently through the woods. For years, this footage sparked heated debates among enthusiasts and skeptics alike. People were either convinced it was proof or declared it a clever hoax. Tom knew that some dismissed these tales as mere silly stories, while others staunchly believed in Bigfoot's reality. The arguments often became heated, separating believers from disbelievers, like a thick line drawn in the sand. But for Tom, there was something compelling about investigating these claims. Even if Bigfoot turned out to be nothing more than a myth, he was eager to explore what drove people to believe so strongly. As he navigated through the underbrush, Tom thought about how the stories had transcended generations, becoming part of family traditions and local lore. Children would sit wide-eyed around campfires as their parents recounted spooky encounters and encounters with this great beast. It was no wonder that so many adults remained convinced they had seen glimpses of something extraordinary. The local townsfolk in Pine Ridge had their own tales, each person adding fuel to the fire of speculation surrounding Bigfoot's existence. One elderly man with weathered hands and bright eyes told Tom about an encounter he had when he was just a boy. He recalled fishing with his grandfather when they noticed an enormous shadow passing overhead, something that didn't quite belong in that secluded place. The old man's excitement remained palpable even decades later, recalling that moment as if it had happened only yesterday. Tom pressed deeper into the forest, reflecting on how significant Bigfoot's legend was not just as a cryptid, but also as a symbol of humanity's enduring fascination with nature's mysteries. Throughout history, humankind has sought understanding beyond what is apparent. Whether through science or folklore, people have continuously looked for explanations regarding those things that lie just out of reach. Eventually, as Tom paused to catch his breath, he spotted what appeared to be large footprints pressed into soft earth beside a nearby stream. They left deep impressions, much larger than any human foot, and seemed to lead away from where he stood. Feeling adrenaline surge through him, Tom knelt down to examine them closely. The sight sent tingles down his spine. Could this mark be evidence that Bigfoot truly roamed these woods? Tom snapped photos of the footprints and jotted down notes in his notebook, fueled by hope and excitement. He looked around cautiously, realizing that every sound, the rustling of trees, distant animal calls, could signify Bigfoot's presence nearby. As dusk settled over Pine Ridge and shadows grew long between towering trees, Tom felt an unmistakable thrill mixed with apprehension. This wasn't just an investigation anymore. It felt like stepping into a living legend where reality intertwined with mythical tales passed down through generations. The longer Tom wandered through the forest, the more he felt connected to those stories that had followed him throughout his life. A yearning for discovery rooted deep within his spirit. As night approached and darkness wrapped itself around him like a blanket, each heartbeat echoed louder in his ears. He couldn't help but wonder if perhaps he was on the verge of uncovering something profound, not merely confronting an unseen creature, but also tapping into something far greater than himself. The allure of legends that beckoned explorers and adventurers throughout time. With renewed determination in his heart and questions swirling through his mind, Tom pressed forward into the oncoming night, fully aware that whatever awaited him just ahead would forever change how he viewed not only Bigfoot, but also humanity's connection to the mysteries of nature itself. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting golden hues across the Pine Ridge forest. Tom felt a surge of energy as he mentally prepared himself for the investigation ahead. Now that he had fully embraced the possibility of encountering Bigfoot, his instincts as an investigator kicked into high gear. He focused on gathering evidence and learning everything he could about the elusive creature. Tom set out early the next morning, determined to explore different areas of the forest where locals reported sightings. With his notebook in hand and a camera slung around his neck, he felt like an explorer embarking on an uncharted journey. Each step through the dense underbrush brought him closer to uncovering the truth about this legendary being that had fascinated so many. His first stop was a clearing known among residents for frequent sightings. Friends of Tom had shared stories about how they'd spotted something moving between the trees at dusk, something large and quick that would vanish before their very eyes. The excitement of being in the spot where countless stories had originated filled him with anticipation. As he arrived, Tom observed his surroundings meticulously. Everything seemed alive and vibrant. Birds flitted through branches, and squirrels darted energetically along the ground. He decided to set up his equipment, positioning a couple of motion-activated cameras around the edges of the clearing. If Bigfoot was indeed nearby, Tom wanted to ensure he could capture evidence, perhaps even a photo of the legendary creature itself. After carefully setting up his cameras, he decided to sit quietly on a fallen log while keeping watch over the area, allowing nature to unfold at its own pace. Minutes turned into hours, yet Tom remained patient. Though he didn't see anything remarkable right away, he absorbed every sound and sight around him, feeling increasingly attuned to the forest's rhythm. Suddenly, as he listened closely, a rustling sound broke his focus. It came from behind a thick cluster of bushes. Was it a small animal, or could it be something bigger? Heart racing with excitement, Tom drew his camera up to snap pictures just in case it was something significant. He squinted through the lens, but instead of seeing movement through the foliage, he caught only shadows dancing playfully among the branches. Frustration crept in momentarily as he lowered his camera and leaned back against the log. Maybe I'm just chasing shadows, he muttered under his breath. However, instead of giving up, Tom reminded himself that every moment spent here was part of the experience, part of investigating something as colossal as Bigfoot. That evening, after checking his motion-activated cameras and reviewing hours of footage without any sign of Bigfoot, Tom returned to base camp for a warm meal and rest. He recounted his observations in detail in his notebook while reflecting on what lay ahead. Although he hadn't found definitive proof yet, something told him there was still much to discover within these woods. The following day brought Tom to other locations mentioned by local hunters who claimed they had encountered unusual sounds at night, low growls and ominous howls echoing through the air. These hunters were usually skilled trackers who stormed these woods regularly. If they suspected something was amiss, there surely was some truth behind it. With this in mind, he hiked down rugged paths leading to a series of caves rumored to be frequented by wildlife during particularly cold days. The cool air seeped through the cavern's openings as Tom approached slowly. It felt almost electric being there on this quest for discovery. Inside one cave, he examined scratch marks on stone walls that appeared much too high for any ordinary animal. Could these be remnants left by Bigfoot's claws? Besides that, numerous red berries scattered throughout indicated that creatures often sought shelter there, perhaps even a big creature like Bigfoot. Tom absorbed his surroundings with fascination. Everything felt connected in a way that transcended ordinary exploration. It was like piecing together a grand puzzle. In each rustle, every unexplored bush, lay the possibility of uncovering secrets waiting for someone daring enough to seek them out. After hours spent searching and documenting evidence, Tom decided to camp nearby that night, in hopes that staying close might allow him to witness something extraordinary firsthand. As darkness wrapped itself around the forest, he settled into his sleeping bag, with thoughts buzzing through his mind like fireflies flitting about outside. In those quiet moments beneath twinkling stars, Tom found himself yearning not just for proof of Bigfoot, but for answers to larger questions about humanity's relationship with nature. The mysteries that echoed through time and space still lingering just out of reach. As sleep began to pull him under, he felt a sense of purpose swell within him. Whatever awaited him in this enchanting wilderness, a creature or a newfound understanding, would soon reveal itself. For Tom Jenkins, this investigation was simply just beginning. The real journey lay ahead, in seeking the truth hidden among stories forged generations ago. The night was quiet, save for the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl echoing through the Pine Ridge forest. Tom lay in his sleeping bag, staring up at the stars that pierced the darkness above him. The cool air filled his lungs as he took deep breaths, trying to calm his racing heart. He felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. Tonight could be the night he finally encountered Bigfoot. As he listened intently to the sounds of the forest, Tom's mind wandered back to all he had learned about Bigfoot. The stories of its massive size, dark fur, and elusive nature. The thought of coming face to face with such a creature both thrilled and terrified him. He reminded himself that this was why he had come here, to seek answers and perhaps catch a glimpse of something extraordinary. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from deeper within the woods. Tom's eyes widened as he bolted upright in his sleeping bag. Was it an animal, or could it be Bigfoot? He quickly grabbed his flashlight and quietly unzipped his tent, careful not to make any noise that might scare away whatever was nearby. Stepping softly onto the cool ground, Tom scanned the dark trees with his flashlight beam. The light flickered through the shadows, revealing nothing but thick underbrush and towering trunks. As he moved cautiously towards the source of the sound, he felt adrenaline pumping through his veins. The growling sound came again, this time louder and closer. It sent chills down Tom's spine, but also ignited a sense of purpose within him. He needed to find out what was making that sound. With determination guiding his steps, he crept forward until he reached a small clearing. Just then, something moved in front of him. A massive shadow darted between two trees. Tom's heart raced as he caught a glimpse of dark fur glistening under his flashlight beam. It stood on two legs and was much taller than any man he had ever seen. Could this be it? Could this be Bigfoot? Tom steadied himself against a tree trunk for support as he tried to process what was happening right before his eyes. The creature paused momentarily, its massive figure looming over the vegetation like a guardian of the forest, but then vanished into the dense foliage before Tom could even think to snap a photo. "Wait!" Tom called out instinctively, though part of him feared that speaking would only scare it away for good. The creature did not respond, but seemed to pause just beyond view, as if assessing whether it should reveal itself further. In those fleeting moments, time felt suspended as Tom wrestled with a whirlwind of emotions. Fear mingled with awe at being so close to something legendary, yet shrouded in mystery. He wanted desperately to gather evidence, but didn't want to lose this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Taking a deep breath, Tom slowly stepped towards where he last saw Bigfoot disappear. The undergrowth crunched softly beneath his feet as he moved carefully forward. Every rustle sounded amplified in the stillness around him. Then came another sound, thudding footsteps moving away from him into deeper darkness, followed by an unexpected silence that hung heavily in the air, like fog rolling across water. Tom felt torn between fear and exhilaration. Should he chase after it or take caution? The weight of possibility pressed on him like never before. Gathering every ounce of courage within him, he decided to follow in pursuit, hoping against hope that curiosity would lead him closer rather than further away from uncovering this mystery. Navigating through thick branches and creeping vines became more challenging as shadows danced around him like spirits lost in their own world. Yet with each step forward came renewed hope. Perhaps if he could just get close enough. After what felt like an eternity of searching through dimly lit paths bathed in moonlight, Tom stumbled upon another clearing, a space illuminated by silvery beams breaking through treetops above. And there it was again, Bigfoot, this time standing boldly at the edge where trees met open sky. A majestic silhouette against shimmering starlight. Its large frame rippled with muscle beneath its thick fur coat as it turned slightly toward him. Their eyes locked together for what felt like both an instant and eternity. In that moment filled with wonderment mixed with trepidation, something shifted within Tom's understanding. He realized this encounter wasn't just about proving Bigfoot's existence. Rather, it was about connecting with nature at its wildest core. A reminder that humanity shared this world with creatures far greater than themselves. Tom's heart raced even faster now as thoughts raced through his mind. Should I speak? Will it understand me? Would acknowledging its presence deepen their connection? But before he could decide on how best to approach this magnificent being standing before him, the creature turned abruptly and disappeared back into the forest shadows once more. Left alone under twinkling stars, Tom felt awash in emotion. Part exhilarated by what he'd seen, but also keenly aware that many questions remained unanswered about both Bigfoot itself and humanity's role within nature's grand tapestry. This first encounter etched itself permanently into Tom's memory. A defining moment on a journey sparked not merely by curiosity, but by fascination too profound not to pursue further. The following days passed in a blur of exhilaration and introspection for Tom Jenkins. After his astonishing encounter with Bigfoot, He felt a sense of urgency to communicate with the creature, not just out of curiosity, but because he believed there was profound wisdom to be learned from it. Tom realized that if he had a chance to interview the legendary being, it could change everything about how humanity viewed the wild and its secrets. With newfound determination, Tom set about preparing for what he envisioned as an unprecedented conversation. He needed to establish trust with Bigfoot, who had already shown itself to be incredibly elusive and wary. Tom understood that he would have to create an environment where the creature felt safe and secure. He began by collecting materials necessary for this unique setup, tools that would help facilitate communication rather than frighten it away. First, Tom decided to bring along food. After researching various diets associated with creatures like Bigfoot, he learned that they are believed to be omnivorous. Using this information, he packed items such as fruits, nuts, and granola bars, foods that might pique the curiosity of the mythical creature while not overwhelming it with unfamiliar smells. Next came the crucial decision of location. The clearing where he first spotted Bigfoot felt perfect. It was open enough for easy visibility, but surrounded by trees, providing ample cover and comfort for the creature should it decide to approach. He spent hours clearing a small area, ensuring no barriers would impede its approach and placing fruit in a way that suggested an inviting meal rather than a trap. As dusk began to settle over Pine Ridge once again and shadows lengthened across the forest floor, Tom prepared his makeshift interview space. He focused on creating an atmosphere of calmness, arranging a few logs into a circle, and setting his camera at a safe distance, ensuring that it would capture any interactions without making Bigfoot feel cornered or threatened. With everything in place, Tom steeled himself, feeling both nervous and excited about the possibilities ahead. He couldn't shake off memories of the stories he'd heard from locals about older generations meeting mystical creatures, exchanging knowledge from one being to another. Perhaps now it was his turn. A soothing silence enveloped the forest as he settled down near the arrangement he had created. The gentle breeze rustled leaves above him, the only sound breaking through the stillness. Time passed slowly as he sat there waiting. Anticipation thrilled him while uncertainty nagged at his mind. He couldn't help but wonder, what if Bigfoot never showed up? Or worse yet, what if, contrary to everything, he believed it could understand him? Yet deep within him lived a spark of hope, a belief that connection could transcend words. Just when doubt began creeping in, he heard it. The unmistakable sound of heavy footsteps coming from behind trees. His heart raced as his breath quickened in response. This time was different. This was not simply a shadow passing through darkness, but possibly an actual approach from the immense creature he longed to meet again. Tom's heart pounded like thunder in his chest as he struggled to remain still, his body instinctively wanting to leap up and greet the legend unfolding before him, yet cautious enough not to scare it away once more. He held his breath as part of him wanted desperately to shout out, but remained rooted quietly on the log. Emerging from behind thick foliage came Bigfoot, a massive figure cloaked in fur that shimmered subtly even in the dim light filtering through branches. The creature paused at the edge of his clearing, its amber eyes surveying the scene like an ancient spirit assessing its territory. Tom slowly extended an arm, laying open his palm invitingly with an offering of fresh grapes resting delicately within it, signaling peace amid their previous encounters steeped in shock and awe. Bigfoot regarded him thoughtfully. It hesitated before stepping cautiously forward, even more massive up close than Tom had ever imagined. Finally stopping just beyond the reach of mere fingertips, Bigfoot leaned closer toward Tom's offering with interest shining in its gaze. This moment felt surreal. Tom's pulse quickened, not just from fear, but from sheer wonderment as he realized they were sharing ground together. a fleeting truce between mankind and legend becoming tangible right before him, as Bigfoot delicately picked up a grape with large fingers and inspected it curiously, veins tingling with energy coursing through both beings at this chance encounter bridging apparent chasms between species crossed generationally. The enormity of possibility echoed softly around them. Tom breathed easier now. This was beyond what he could have hoped for. Though words escaped him entirely, something profound passed between them, an unspoken understanding born not out of language, but recognition, of shared existence on this earth amidst all its contrasts. In that magical instance, beneath a twilight sky woven with stars overhead, a promise lingered within sight, one so profound it whispered possibilities, readying Tom for deeper dialogues yet to come, ones where wisdom awaited beneath every branch along paths less traveled. With renewed resolve sparking within him, he knew their story was only beginning, a convergence born from curiosity, intertwining destiny long overdue. As Tom Jenkins sat quietly in the clearing, his heart raced with anticipation. Bigfoot had cautiously approached him, and Tom felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was his chance to learn from a creature that had eluded humanity for so long. He had spent countless hours reading about Bigfoot legends, but now he faced the being itself, an actual inhabitant of the wilderness. Bigfoot picked up a grape with its large fingers, bringing it closer to its face as if inspecting it for quality. Tom marveled at the intelligence reflected in its deep amber eyes. It was an odd yet profound moment. They were worlds apart, yet somehow connected in this fragile exchange. "Thank you for coming," Tom said, softly, almost whispering. He wasn't sure whether Bigfoot could understand him or if it even mattered. Their communication was something deeper than words, built upon trust and respect for their shared existence. Bigfoot paused, tilting its head slightly, as if trying to process Tom's presence and intentions. In that brief moment of stillness, Tom felt a profound connection, one that transcended language. It was as if both of them were part of an ancient story that had been unfolding for eons. Tom decided to take a leap of faith. "I want to learn from you," he continued gently, carefully choosing his words. "There's so much we don't understand about nature and our place within it." He hoped that expressing his intentions might inspire Bigfoot to reveal more. The creature seemed to ponder this request. After finishing the grape, it glanced around the clearing before abruptly standing upright and taking several steps back into the shadows of the forest. Tom held his breath, uncertain whether this brief interaction had come to an end or if Bigfoot was merely preparing to share something profound. Seconds later, Bigfoot reappeared carrying a large branch that looked surprisingly flexible yet sturdy. It dropped the branch on the ground near Tom's feet as if presenting an offering of sorts, a bridge between their two worlds. Tom leaned closer, inspecting the branch carefully. It bore strange markings carved into its surface, lines and curves that resembled symbols or perhaps even a form of primitive writing. This was unexpected. Could these patterns hold meaning? Was Bigfoot trying to communicate something beyond spoken language? "Are these your markings?" he asked tentatively, pointing at the symbols etched into the wood. Bigfoot watched intently, its gaze unwavering, as though assessing Tom's reaction. Tom took out his notebook and began sketching the symbols while describing them aloud. "They look like they could tell a story." "Stories of your kind?" He hoped this proactive exploration would encourage further sharing from Bigfoot. The creature leaned in closer again, observing Tom's actions with an apparent mixture of curiosity and caution. It moved to sit beside him on a log in an almost playful manner. It seemed willing to engage after all. Tom continued working on his sketches when suddenly he looked back up at Bigfoot's face. He noticed how a change arose within those deep-set eyes. It was almost as though they flickered with ancient knowledge waiting to be unleashed. In thrilling silence, Tom made a bold choice by gesturing toward the forest beyond them. The vast expanse echoed with life, yet filled with unseen mysteries looming beyond every bush and tree trunk around them. "Can you show me where these stories began?" With surprising grace for such a large creature, Bigfoot stood up slowly before stepping away from their makeshift meeting space, and for each step taken towards the heart of Pine Ridge, forest drew Tom closer into another world, no longer foreign, but familiar even, among mystery cloaked within shadows. As they ventured deeper together through shaded trails winding beneath branches like tunnels connecting realms unknown moments prior, a sense of adventure blossomed in tandem with exhilarating fear. Wanting desperately still, hoping more revelations awaited tangled behind nature's veil just ahead. Occasionally, along their path, emerged glimpses. Strange rock formations clustered like ancient monuments, or peculiar vegetation waving in rhythm aligned with instincts rather than reason. Sparked excitement coursing through Tom's veins. Each sight ignited questions burning brightly within him. At last, Bigfoot reached what appeared to be an ancient grove. As sunlight streamed down through gaps between leaves above, illuminating their surroundings. It revealed extraordinary markings covering rocks adorned by moss growing gracefully at their feet, while delicate flowers bloomed nearby, filling air, fragrant, blissfully alive. Here wasn't just any meeting place. It felt sacred. Without hesitation, taking out his camera once more, Tom's snapshots captured those captivating spaces. And with each click came distinct whispers, echoing throughout time, carried forth across generations, entwined amongst trees, under starlight, wrapped tight against twilight sky. Where did this all come from? He wondered aloud as he looked around, feeling small yet connected within such majesty stretching infinitely surrounding them. Both captured by awe-fueled recognition, shared profoundly edged deeply within shared history woven intricately throughout life's delicate tapestry. Even beyond concerns, encircling humanity's transient existence laid bare. In that hidden sanctuary alongside Bigfoot, amidst pulse radiating life all around them. Tom's heart soared full, knowing they would uncover elusive wisdom binding humanity back together, forever etched along pathways marked unexplored. The real journey blossomed into awareness, powerful daring, unfathomable truths, waiting evermore just beyond cerulean horizons, hidden within depths, untold lying eternally waiting beneath canopy, stretching overhead, endless anew. As Tom Jenkins followed Bigfoot deeper into the Pine Ridge forest, an electric sense of anticipation coursed through him. They navigated through towering trees and winding paths, each step weaving a bond that transcended the boundaries of language and species. Tom was filled with awe at how easily he had formed a connection with such an elusive creature. His heart raced at the prospect of unveiling the secrets that lay hidden within this ancient wilderness. Eventually, they arrived at a secluded grove, unlike any Tom had encountered before. Sunlight filtered gently through the canopy above, casting an ethereal glow that made the place feel sacred. Massive stone formations, covered in vibrant moss and adorned with intricate symbols, surrounded them like silent sentinels. Tom's breath caught in his throat as he took in the beauty and significance of this spot. His instincts told him that they were standing in a place steeped in history. Bigfoot moved closer to one of the stones, reaching out a large hand to trace one of the carvings etched into its surface. The markings glowed faintly, as if resonating with energy. Tom, now brimming with curiosity, approached cautiously, feeling an overwhelming need to understand this mystical encounter. "What do these symbols mean?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. For a moment, Bigfoot paused and seemed to contemplate Tom's presence deeply. The creature's amber eyes flickered with an expression that conveyed both wisdom and sorrow. Then it gestured toward the symbols once more before stepping back, allowing Tom to take a closer look. As he inspected the carvings, something shifted within him. A realization began to dawn. These symbols depicted not just stories, but records of coexistence between nature and creatures like Bigfoot. They detailed generations of harmony, their history imprinted on the landscape itself. Each line told of events and challenges faced together, an intricate tapestry of life interwoven through time. In that moment of clarity, Tom understood that Bigfoot was not merely an animal, but an embodiment of ancient wisdom and knowledge about nature's delicate balance. His heart swelled with emotion as he began to see how disconnected humanity had become from these lessons. With renewed determination guiding his thoughts, Tom looked up at Bigfoot with a new question weighing on his mind. "Are you trying to tell me something? Is this about protecting the forest?" Bigfoot nodded slowly. Its gaze was serious, yet filled with concern. A silent acknowledgement that the knowledge it held was crucial for survival amidst growing threats from humans encroaching on their territory. Tom's gut twisted as he pondered what this revelation could mean for humanity. Not just for himself or his investigation, but for all living beings sharing this planet. There was so much more at stake than merely proving Bigfoot's existence. It was about understanding that their survival depended on respect for each other and the land they lived upon. This sudden awareness hit him like a rush of cold water. Topics such as conservation and environmental responsibility flooded his thoughts, like waves crashing against rocky shores. Here stood a being capable of connecting deeply with nature, while facing risks orchestrated by human actions, which often went ignored or misunderstood. Feeling overwhelmed but brimming with purpose, Tom spoke again. "I have to share this message," he declared firmly, as if affirming a vow bound by duty towards nature itself. People need to recognize how vital these connections are. We can't continue damaging what we don't understand. This knowledge has to get out. In response, Bigfoot stepped closer to Tom once more, lifting, a massive hand lifted in what felt like reassurance. Its presence amplified by shared determination, resonating subtly yet palpably within their space together, as if its mere existence inspired strength toward action. Then came another surprise. The creature crouched down beside one of the stone carvings, etched across time itself, repeating familiar notions already captured within its design. Listen. Learn. Protect. The fervency behind those gestures conveyed volumes beyond speech. An urge longing for reciprocal understanding echoed throughout both individuals' hearts, intertwined, while bridging two worlds forevermore. Emboldened by this silent pledge made between them, Tom's path shifted unto one laced, thickly woven passions, urging him forward, towards advocacy. He would become an ambassador between realms, leading efforts highlighting awareness needed surrounding critical ecological ramifications spilling forth unchecked across unfathomable distances beyond just Pine Ridge alone. As dusk approached, enveloping their surroundings within soft blue light, painted across skies, beckoning layered tones, enriching landscape view shared within their collective spirits, intertwined. The magnitude behind revelations exchanged unfolded endlessly, while reality crystallized beneath celestial firmament, stretching limitless overhead above glowing brightly, fueling hopes, waiting ever so patient alongside pathways yet to be traveled. The real adventure had just begun. a story woven throughout generations, merging destinies long since intertwined, beckoning calls asking reverently, would humanity choose unity over division, connection over isolation? Would they reconnect themselves, not only to places shrouded, cloaked, deep within shadows, cradled tenderly beneath emerald canopies, gracefully swaying around them, blending harmoniously, striding forth alongside each other, enriching life unleashed across infinite horizons ahead? After what felt like an eternity tangled in the wonder of Pine Ridge, Tom Jenkins knew it was time to return home. He had experienced something extraordinary, an encounter with Bigfoot that had shifted his perspective and ignited a fire within him for advocacy and understanding. As he made his way through the forest toward his campsite, Tom felt a mix of emotions swirling inside him. Gratitude for the knowledge gained, sadness for leaving behind the creature he had connected with, and determination to share this newfound wisdom with the world. The sun began to dip below the horizon as he carefully retraced his steps along the winding paths. Each rustle of leaves seemed to echo the lessons he'd learned while standing in that sacred grove. It wasn't just about proving the existence of Bigfoot or uncovering its mysteries. It was about recognizing the delicate balance of life within nature and the responsibility humans held to protect it. As Tom reached his campsite, he glanced back toward the depths of the forest, where shadows danced among tree trunks. "I'll be back," he promised silently, hoping that Bigfoot understood his commitment to spread their message. He quickly packed up his gear and prepared for the journey back to civilization. Driving out of Pine Ridge, a sense of calm washed over him as he contemplated everything he had witnessed. The fresh air filled his lungs as he made his way down the winding roads. Each turn brought him closer to reality, yet left him yearning for more exploration. Tom couldn't help but feel as though he was leaving a part of himself behind in those woods, a part that thrived within nature's wild embrace. Arriving home, Tom confronted a wave of normalcy that felt almost jarring after his enchanting experience in the forest. The bustling sounds of city life rang louder than ever. Cars honked impatiently, and voices echoed around him, pulling him back into a world often indifferent to nature's whispers. Tom sat down at his kitchen table, surrounded by papers and photographs from his time in Pine Ridge. He pored over his notes detailing everything about Bigfoot and their remarkable encounter, the symbols etched in stone, the harmony shared between species, and felt an urgency well up within him to share these revelations. With renewed determination, Tom pulled out his laptop and began typing furiously. The words flowed like water rushing over a waterfall. He recounted every moment spent with Bigfoot, documenting not only his observations, but also the emotional connection they forged together. He envisioned people reading his account and feeling inspired to appreciate their surroundings and take action towards protecting them. But writing wasn't enough. He knew that for change to happen, he needed to reach people directly. Tom started preparing presentations to deliver at local schools and community events, hoping to ignite passion in others for conservation and respect for wildlife. Listen, learn, protect. He recalled Bigfoot's actions alongside those beautiful carvings, the essence of what needed to be shared. Days turned into weeks as Tom worked diligently on establishing connections within environmental organizations. He became a voice advocating for green initiatives and wildlife protection programs. His mission evolved into not only sharing Bigfoot's story, but also gathering support to ensure their habitats remained safe from encroachment or degradation caused by human activities. Each presentation sparked conversations rich with curiosity. Students' faces lit up when they heard about legends intertwined with scientific realities. They asked pressing questions about how they could play roles in conserving nature, ideas blossoming like wildflowers pushing through rocky soil. Through this work, Tom found himself becoming not just a storyteller, but an agent of change, a bridge linking communities back to the natural world they often took for granted. His heart swelled with pride whenever someone approached, him afterward expressing interest or asking how they could contribute. Together, forming connections that echoed beyond boundaries set forth by humanity. However, late into the night when quiet surrounded him once again after busy days spent rallying others, whispers from Pine Ridge crept back into Tom's thoughts, mingling both nostalgia and inspiration. He would often sit outside, gazing up at stars glimmering brightly above, as if inviting memories shared amidst shadows, lingering deeper inside dense canopies, moved powerfully around them. And in those instances, when solitude enveloped him, holy stillness exuded its magic, filling empty spaces, enabling dreams, nurtured by awe-stricken glimpses, exchanged long since buried beneath veils, obscured by comprehension, lost amidst busy lives, lived daily away from nature. It became clear that this journey was merely beginning, a path unfolding, infinitely leading forever onward toward a brighter future where unity prevailed over division. Connection triumphed over isolation, all thanks to an extraordinary encounter rooted deep within understanding. Born alongside ancient stories whispered through trees, feeling alive, intertwining eternally with one another across generational divides, waiting patiently within thriving echoes held timelessly beneath painted skies. Tom Jenkins's perspective on the world had changed drastically since his encounter with Bigfoot. No longer merely a government agent investigating strange sightings, he had transformed into an advocate for nature, carrying the weight of knowledge that transcended his previous understanding. The lessons he learned in Pine Ridge echoed in his mind like a song, reminders of the delicate balance between humanity and the wild. One evening, after a long day of presentations at schools and community centers, Tom sat on his porch, reflecting on how far he had come. The stars twinkled brightly above him, reminding him of the sacred grove where he first grasped the importance of connection to nature. He could still feel the energy resonating from those ancient carvings. They whispered stories of life intertwined with the earth, a message that felt urgent now more than ever. As he gazed into the night sky, Tom recalled conversations he had with students eager to learn about conservation. Their questions made him realize that young minds held vast potential for change. They were ready to embrace responsibility and take action to protect their environment. In sharing his story about Bigfoot and what it symbolized, unity among species and respect for all living beings, he ignited sparks of inspiration in those who listened. However, Tom knew that raising awareness was just one part of the equation. The real challenge lay ahead as he contemplated how to create lasting impact beyond mere words shared in front of eager faces. He began brainstorming ideas for local initiatives aimed at fostering deeper connections between people and nature. What if they created community gardens or organized cleanup days in local parks? With each thought, excitement bubbled up within him. Tom envisioned playgrounds filled with laughter, where children learned about biodiversity while planting native flowers or exploring habitats right in their backyards. Implementing such projects could instill appreciation for nature's wonders and perhaps prevent future generations from losing touch with their roots. Eager to turn these ideas into reality, Tom reached out to local environmental organizations. He proposed collaborative efforts to create programs designed not only to educate, but also engage communities in hands-on experiences with nature. Meetings unfolded over coffee at quaint cafes, bustling with creativity. A shared passion filled the air as they discussed actionable steps towards a brighter future for both people and wildlife alike. In time, these community initiatives flourished like wildflowers breaking through concrete. Families flocked to events where kids learned about pollinators while planting seeds together, Workshops on sustainable practices brought neighbors closer as they shared knowledge passed down through generations, a tapestry woven with care and respect. Yet even amid this newfound purpose coursing through him, Tom often found himself returning mentally to Pine Ridge, to Bigfoot standing solemnly by those ancient stones, etched with wisdom, waiting patiently beneath emerald canopies, sheltering secrets long forgotten. It became increasingly clear that this journey went beyond simply advocating for ecological awareness. It was about rekindling relationships lost amid technology's encroachment upon natural landscapes. Tom vowed never to forget what he had learned from Bigfoot, that every being must coexist harmoniously alongside one another within delicate ecosystems thriving beneath sunlit skies. As seasons changed and communities grew closer, united by shared goals, whispers from remote forests continued echoing throughout daily life, guiding actions taken toward ecological stewardship. The gentle reminder rooted deeply within memories, forged alongside creatures both humble yet majestic, beckoning forth a calling for unity. Through this transformation, sparked by his extraordinary encounter, Tom recognized not only his role as an ambassador bridging gaps, but also embraced a new identity grounded firmly upon principles derived from ancient teachings murmured softly wherever life flourished vibrantly around them. The world outside may have remained fast-paced, filled with distractions pulling focus away from what mattered most. But within every heart beating alive echoed promises made beneath starlit skies. To prioritize respect over exploitation, connection rather than isolation, together crafting legacies worthy of admiration, spanning across generations, eager yet earnest, striving forward united alongside one another, beneath painted horizons stretching infinitely before them, waiting patiently as adventures awaited just waiting to unfold. As Tom Jenkins looked back on his incredible journey from government agent to nature advocate, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His encounter with Bigfoot in the Pine Ridge Forest had shifted not only his perspective, but also set him on a path of purpose and discovery that he never could have anticipated. Reflecting on the experiences he had gathered along the way, Tom recognized that the lessons learned transcended mere observations. They were calls to action, urging him to foster a connection between humanity and the natural world. In the months following his transformative experience, Tom became increasingly aware of the delicate balance within ecosystems and the crucial role people play in preserving that harmony. He found himself pondering how disconnected modern society had become from nature, a realization that weighed heavily on him. Many people rushed through their daily lives, engrossed in technology and urban distractions, often forgetting the beauty and wisdom of the natural world. With a renewed commitment to change, Tom poured his heart into community initiatives. He organized local cleanup days at parks, initiated tree planting events, and collaborated with schools to create programs for kids that taught them about biodiversity and environmental stewardship. Each event ignited excitement and enthusiasm among participants. Families bonded over gardening and shared stories around campfires while learning valuable lessons from nature together. The true magic unfolded during these moments when he witnessed children's faces light up as they planted seeds or identified different species of plants and animals. They were filled with wonder, a sense of discovery that reminded Tom of his own childhood dreams of adventure and exploration. This spark often transformed into deeper conversations about the importance of conservation, proving that even young minds could understand their responsibility toward the environment. However, it wasn't just about teaching others. Tom discovered that he too was learning. As he interacted with community members during workshops and events, he absorbed their experiences and knowledge. Each shared story added richness to his understanding of local ecology and reinforced the idea that every person had something to contribute in efforts to protect nature. Yet despite this progress, there remained challenges ahead. Tom faced skepticism from some who dismissed environmental concerns as unimportant in an age focused on technology and industry. At times, it felt disheartening as he navigated conversations where misconceptions about conservation prevailed. But he refused to give in to discouragement. Instead, those moments became opportunities for further dialogue. Tom used them to highlight connections between conserving nature and improving quality of life for everyone. He emphasized how healthy ecosystems provided clean air, fresh water, and resources essential for survival. Relationships rooted deeply within communities thrived when residents engaged meaningfully with their surroundings. As seasons changed, so did Tom's initiatives. They evolved from small projects into larger movements, bringing people together across demographic lines, united by common goals. Collaborations blossomed with local businesses eager to support environmental efforts while fostering goodwill within communities. Offers filtered through partnerships promising sustainability embraced more profoundly than before. Evenings turned into gatherings where neighbors shared strategies for reducing waste or discussed wildlife protection measures, while children created art inspired by nature's colors dancing vibrantly around them. New friendships blossomed amid the soil, as roots intertwined across cultural divides, born from shared purposes, translating into lasting legacies worth celebrating generations down the line. Now, whenever Tom returned home after these events, his heart brimming with joy, he'd reflect upon those quiet nights spent beneath stars twinkling softly overhead, reminding him of everything learned alongside Bigfoot standing sentinel among ancient stones, etched patiently across time, encircled within verdant canopies, whispering secrets waiting patiently revealed. The experience serving not merely as inspiration, but sharing wisdom resounding across ages, beckoning forth change, hidden beneath earthy layers, yearning toward sunlight, blazing vibrantly high above, reminding him still. We are all connected, intertwined within this grand tapestry, woven together where every being mattered, where stories carried forth beyond confines, laid bare seeking revelation together. Ultimately, Tom Jenkins rediscovered not only purpose, but also joy, blossoming like wildflowers, weaving effortlessly through time, transcending barriers built, treasuring bonds forged delicately, echoing towards horizons, painted beautifully bright, signaling yet another adventure awaiting. Discovering unity amidst diversity, rising gloriously together, reminding all who ventured forth, embracing wildness forever alive. Holding tightly onto paths leading onward, evermore filled richly thriving endlessly beneath painted skies.